She's hopeless. Pathetic. This last week, a week ago, I did the Bridge the Gap bike tour, and on day number 4, I was riding. Well, I rode with quite a few different people, but towards the end of the day, I caught up with Sarah Lewis. Some of you know, was the first service most of the time. Also sings lead, helps lead worship, and a guy named Dirk. Now, Dirk is pretty cool. Dirk is a mountain bike racer who's sponsored by a company, and they liked him enough that he went to do this road ride. They're like, "Here, have a $4,000 road bike to go do your ride with." Okay, so he got a $4,000 bike. You know, like, wow. Okay, I could buy a car with that. So he's on the ride, and I catch up to the two of them. They're at a rest stop, and I pull in behind him. And I'm like, "Hey guys, I'll ride with you. I don't ride with myself anymore." And they're like, "Okay, cool." So we start riding, and I didn't train enough for the ride, really. And so I'd ridden by myself for about an hour. I got tired of, I'd done a lot of support in the back, kind of riding the slower riders, and I was done with that. Everyone was fine. And so I started hammering, and I started riding really good. I was like riding 20 miles an hour. I'm like, of course, I had a really good tailwind, but it was fantastic. And I was riding, you know those moments where you're like, I'm doing really good. And so I about maxed myself out. After about an hour and a half by myself, I'm like, okay, I can't do this anymore. And I've gone from tailwind to crosswind, and sometimes it was against you, and that's really obnoxious. So I'm like, I'll ride with you guys. And so they're like, okay, cool, we want to ride with you. So we start riding. And I'm just getting tired. I'm just getting drained out. You know, we're about mile 60-something. So I mean, that's a good ride for the day. You know, 60 miles on a bike. And I'm starting to count down when we're done. This is the longest ride we have. Normally, long ride, 88 miles that day. And so I'm flipping over on my odometer to mileage, to the, you know, how many miles have I gone? And I don't ride with that up because it's really discouraging. I leave other things up on the computer, but not how many miles I've gone because it moves really slow. And so then you're like, oh, we've gone less than a tenth of a mile. Oh, shoot. So I'll look at something else and occasionally route back to how far. Do you do this? Sure you get all when you're riding? Okay, good. So I'm not the only one.